going on, y'all? Generational Entrepreneur coming back at you with a new video. So, as an entrepreneur, business owner, why don't you have the stuff that you want and you feel you need? You know, in your mind, you're like, I want to have this, I want to have that, so you've been doing it for a while. You got to think, if you were supposed to have it, you would have had it by now. Or do you feel like the reason you don't have it because it's not meant to be? Or do you feel you have to work harder, you have to be smarter? What do you think it could be from? Could it be that you just don't know enough to where you just don't, your mind doesn't have the capacity to take you to the next level? Like, what could it be? Because you gotta think, if you, in your mind, you're like, man, I should be farther than where I need to be. I should have this, I should already have that. Sometimes you look at what other people have, people in the same profession, people in the same age group, maybe same neighborhood. You have little measuring blocks. You start thinking like, why don't I have, or should I be, or what level should I be at? Like, you have little measuring sticks, and like that's how life is. We always compare, like, how does this look to that? How does that look to that? And it's like, why should I have $1 million? Should I have $500,000? You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna be a billionaire? And the number one thing I think of is like, if you're on your way to being a billionaire, or if you had the potential to be a billionaire, what's in your mind is gonna take you there? And what information do you have? Do you have the right information? Do you know, did you take the right steps and make the right decisions to get you to the next level? Because if you're currently starting right now, right, 2019, if you think you're gonna be a millionaire in a year and you haven't done the right prerequisites, let's say previously within the last 2 years leading up to now, you're not gonna be there. So, it's a certain level of, you have to be absorbing knowledge, information. You have to know more in the next 5 years than you did at this point to know that you'll be farther in those 5 years, if that makes sense. So, like I said, why don't you have the things you don't have? Like, there's always a reason why. You're like, well, why don't you have $1 million? Some people say, well, money isn't everything, or this isn't. Like, well, the reason I don't have $1 million is because maybe I didn't take the necessary steps to have that $1 million. Maybe I didn't practically plan to have myself set up to where I'll have this. So once you analyze and look at yourself first, that's probably why. Then look at the information. What do you know? What do you need to know? It's not always about it's not about luck. Now, if you have the opportunity, you worked hard, and an opportunity comes and you take it, boom, you're getting somewhere. But you're not just gonna wake up, get something handed to you. You're not gonna walk into a good situation, because if you walk into a good situation, like I said, if you didn't prepare leading up to that situation where you've been taking the information, taking the knowledge, and then the opportunity presents itself, yeah, you can be handed an opportunity, but if you didn't know how to handle it, it's gonna fall through your hands within 30 days, 2 months. It's gonna fall apart. So you gotta build the capacity up to be able to handle certain things. So it's like, the reason you probably don't have $500 million or $500,000 or 5,000 or 10,000, whatever amount of money is like, your mind is like, let's say you can see a graph, a pie graph, chart, whatever you want to call it, where it's like, I don't know. But if your mind can only handle $10, right, you can't feed it $20 worth of value. You have to get your mind a little bit, let's say $20, to where you can take $20 of value. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a tank, You can't take, the reason why, that's even with dealing with certain people, probably the reason you probably can't, you're not at that level of, let's say, millionaire status or $500,000 status, because your mind is only so much you could take in. Your brain can't handle that much information. It's taken in steps, you know what I'm saying? So like, you can't tell a 5-year-old the information that you would tell a 15-year-old, because the brain, it's a capacity level. It just hasn't grown to that capacity. So the reason you probably don't have, or you feel like, man, I started this in here, but it's like, yeah, you could have been an entrepreneur for 5 years, 6 years, 2 years, but the person that say they took 2 years of being, they started in 2 years. In them 2 years, they fed themselves information, they learned, they met with the right people, they grew. So in 2 years, somebody can grow more than person in 5 years, you know? And then it's like, man, this guy's been doing this. He was able to absorb twice as much information than the guy that's been doing it in 10, 15 years, you know? And it's like, man, where did this guy come from? Like, how did he get here? How did he do this? And I've been doing this long, but it's like some people, they focus their mind to take in and expand the capacity of their mind to take in a lot of information and apply it. So when the opportunity does come, straight up, you know, they take off because their brain can handle it. Whereas the person is just not building, not growing, not, you know what I'm saying, getting better. You know, you're just buying time in those 5 years. So in those 5 years, 1 year goes by, same situation. Another year goes by, same. And then you're wondering, like, why am I'm not going through? You know what I'm saying? I'm still stuck right here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe because this is as high as you can go. You know, your limit is all you know. Your information is at this ceiling, this cap. So when you feed it, it can grow. So then you grow a little more, then you take more information. You're a little more smarter. You know, you can handle certain situations. You can reply differently. You have faster thinking, you know what I'm saying? So your strategies are better. So you can handle it. You know how to handle certain things. So your capacity is growing. So if you meet somebody, you can network with them better. You know what questions to ask. You know how to handle the right things. You have the right answers. So, like I said, the reason you probably might be at 100,000 at a certain level because your capacity is 100,000. The reason you're at 500,000, probably because your capacity is at 500,000. The reason you're not at 500,000 because maybe your capacity might be at 20,000. So how do you expand your capacity? Learn, you know, change your thoughts, you know, change your thinking, change the way you talk about certain things, change the people you talk to, the conversations, you know, feed your brain with different things. You know what you're not good at, you know, like you know what you need to work on. If you know you're weak in certain things, improve those things. And then you expand what your mind can take. You expand how you handle situations, scenarios, strategies, you know. It's like, you're thinking, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more reactive, you know? So when the situation comes to you, it's slow motion now. You know how to react to it in slow motion to where you're making the right decisions, you know? You're not just straight and just, you know, off of impulse. It's reactive, you know, because you trained your mind, you trained yourself, you know? And it's like I said, if you just want to get to the next level, you just have to feed yourself with information that you don't currently have. Well, how do I know what I don't know? Good question. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and say, like, okay, what don't I know? What do I run away from the most? You know, what do I need to stop beating around the bush at and say, you know what, I need to take that head on and get better at it, you know? And you'd be amazed if you just dial in and focus for a year straight on what your weaknesses may be, you get better. For me personally, my weaknesses was speaking, like just talking. Like, it's like something I'm doing right now in front of this camera, I couldn't have done this 2 years ago. I just didn't have the capacity and just the patience of the words just to know how to communicate better. So as I got better communication. You know, that was my weakness, how to communicate better. Because in business, communication is highly important. That's the top of every skill. Like I said, it's an undervalued skill people don't talk about the most. They talk about the skill of doing a job, the skill of doing this, doing that, but communication is it's the top of the list of skills you need to have. So as a communicator, I got better. I'm still improving. I'm not what I feel I need to be, because I feel I need to improve on certain things, but overall, I'm good enough, you know? So hope that was able to help somebody, some information. You're an entrepreneur, you feel like your limit is right here and you want to get right here, feed this and you keep growing, you know? So if you want to grow outside this phone screen, you know what I'm saying? Expand your mind, feed it with knowledge. Hope that helped. Talk to y'all later. One more thing. Like it, share it, subscribe it. All three, one of the three, two of the three, whatever you want to do. Hope it helps. Thank you.